All right, guys, thanks once again for clicking on this video. So I'm just gonna do a rundown as to how for the past month of September, how I was able to secure over 3,000 pips on gold. Ideally, we're looking at just the sells that were taken on gold. So these are all signals that were sent to the signals group. We had two swing trades on gold, and then we had some intraday setups as well, both buys and sells, but we're just looking at the sell opportunity. All right. So we're on the weekly time frame right here. Shows that this was the month of August. September started right around the end of this candle, the beginning of this one, right? So the very first thing that I did was, after realizing all that was happening, here I had a trend line here. At the end, I'm going to show you my original chart that has all the joins on it so that you can see for yourself. So this is the trend line that I had on the chart that I was watching. It's a weekly, daily trend line, good for a 4 hour as well. So ideally, I was using this as a gauge from price was heading down just to see if we would get a break and a retest of this trend line. Um, so it was on my chart for a pretty long time. As you can see, right here shows June. So yes, I had it there rejecting and going down. So when it finally broke right here, I was like, okay, we're gonna wait for a potential retest. So we're still trading all along in that time frame, but waiting on this for a potential swing setup. All right, so ideally looking into tapping into these lows, but again, because it's a signals chat, I was saying that, this might really take some time. I was not expecting all of this big movement, but nonetheless, um we're gonna go into it. So on the daily time frame, this is what was looking at. So I had it retest, yeah. So it was a little different on other charts. So the broker depends on how some of the candles close and all, wick rejection and that type of stuff. So even though this is a daily, I had a fib on here, on the 4 hour time frame, which was this fib right here. So I had this fib because even though I was entering buys and all of that stuff, I was just doing so to take advantage of this, but having in mind that, hey, overall, I'm looking for a confirmation for the continued sells, right? So there was a lot of sensitivity, key areas for me towards the left. I really liked this one right here, and I was really looking into it. Now, the first thing is, when I realized that on the daily time frame, the price was not giving, even though we had a big push up at first, we pretty much did not get a close above this level of resistance here to the left, right? So that was key for me on the daily time frame. So actually, we started taking trades right in these areas. So took the sell right here as it hit my -6 to 1. We're in sells. Actually didn't go all the way. Got some pips out of this, then got stopped out, and then re-entered the sells. So pretty much this was the very first one. So the confirmation was from the higher time frame. Weekly, this trend line, weekly, daily, 4 hour break, retest. Different. We have some confirmations in here again. We won't go through these, but also the rejection, the -6 to 1, point 0.8 TP being hit on this pullback structure, right? Again, the candle anatomy, as I showed you on the daily time frame, where we're failing to close above that level, which is this level. But as you can see on the 4 hour, we got some closure, but it still didn't close above this range right here. So that was pretty good for me. So with news right here, the minute I saw that we pushed up, but we rejected this trend line, that was another confirmation again for sells. So sells were taken here, sells were taken here, and we started the overall sell bias with that um with those confirmation. Outside of this, no, we started to scale in on different opportunities. On this leg, I believe we had some trades running as well. And then right here for this retest, we took another entry. So I'm gonna go over to my original chart just so that we can see those entries and hopefully I can shed a little more light into it. All right. It's a messy chart, but it's how I'll be able to explain. So this is the structure that we were in, this channel, and I was waiting for it to pretty much break out, give a retest for price to continue down, right? So this is it. So we were pushing down. This was the first leg. If I should go on the daily time frame, you'd see this is the part here that I was talking about. So we rejected these areas here, didn't break above, and price was coming down. But then this you see is where my trend line got broken, right? And then was waiting on the retest. So jumping back down to the 4 hour time frame now, you can see this is a structure. So we took some buys, took some buys, took some buys, right? But again, so all of these is pretty much the same type of confirmations that were used, breaks, retest a certain zone, pushes. Some of them were breakout trades as well. As you can see, this one right here, we got a break, we got a retest, retest of the trend line, retest of the zone, a little wick exhaustion as well, and we took some buys there. All right. But the first swing trade was this one right here. So the moment that I had this area marked out, I had this trend line here, and I had this trend line, which is the one that I was showing you earlier, to be retested, right? So 1, 2, 3, the fib 4, and then the candle anatomy would be 5 different confirmations. So even though it would price was bullish right here, I was very confident in my markup that price is going to sell for the long haul from this point because of all my various confirmations, right? So right in here, because I had the area marked out, then when it came time for entering, I had a few entries that got stopped out. Let me see. Oh, so it was on this side. So right here, as you can see, this is the original entry. So this is the very first swing trade that we took, right? So this is the one, this is the date and price tool for it. So this shows 1,000 pip, and that is exactly what I said that we were aiming for in the group. If you're in the signals chat, then you can recall when I asked the question. So this is 1,000 pip trade. I didn't even count this one. So as you can see, this is another trade right in here. Hopefully you can see it. Let me see if I can move this over a bit. Yeah. So there it is. So you can see this was another sell as well. Took this just to this area. So I didn't have this in my calculations, but this is it to right here. So let's just put it at 100 pip. Yeah, so let's just say 100. Went a little over, but that's fine. Let's just say 100 pip right there for that move, right? So as you can see right here, we're pretty much playing in this structure as well. A break or broke it right here, and then it came back and it retested this area, right? Hopped in for sells. As you can see, there's a trend line here as well that got broken. It was retested on a minor time frame. However, Don't want to go on the 15 minutes because everything is going to get messy. But that is another confirmation here. But for this one, we were just taking small pips. So took this one just to this area right here. All right, still holding this swing one. So this was another sell again. Took it down to this area here. That's for 106 the pip. There was another sell in here, this one right here. So we took it to this level here for 120 pip, right? So this level, as you can see, is pretty much gauging everything towards the left. So looking at price action from the left, keeping it in mind. So even though we're looking at overall sells, we know that the market doesn't always just push, push, push. It has to pull back at some point in time, right? So that's pretty much what I was doing here, just playing those pullbacks, right? Then this was the very first fib that I was using to gauge the overall play, right? Moment we got a rejection here, price came back and tapped into our zone, right? Failing to break above, that was another confirmation again for me. We had some sales in here, but I believe it was on another chart that I was using, and then I had reset that chart. So we're not going to take into account nothing that happened throughout this entire week. And if you know me, there's no way we're going to go through an entire week not trading gold. As you can see, this is from Sunday, the 10th of September, all the way down. This is Thursday. It's impossible. Friday, it's impossible not to trade gold for a week. All right. But we're just going to focus on what's already highlighted on this chart. Right. So again, we got the retest here. Perfect opportunity for additional entries. I know we had an entry here that got stopped out with this wick when it came back down. And I was like, okay, we entered again and we took some profit on the way down. Now, this is the trend line that I had. So this trend line here, this one, I had it using as a gauge as well to see where price might reject from to push up, right? Because I was looking for a pullback, right? Ideally, I was saying probably into this area, but then looking at overall structure, I knew that we could retest this area. And because I had this trend line at the top, I know that at some point we might get to that trend line, right? So hence we moved along. Now, price became bullish on this pullback leg here. But again, remember, I was mainly looking at sells. So I was just waiting. So this now on the 1 hour, it's not as clear, but this is pretty much a retest of this zone over here, just a bit lower on the 4 hour, because this trade was taken from the 4 hour time frame. So it's best I show you on the 4 hour. All right, you can see it clear. So these are my zones that I had on the 4 hour. This one right here being a minor one, that's why it's smaller than this one. This one being a more major zone. So as you can see, if I stretch it over, price came right into it and pretty much closed, right? When it came, we just got a wick above and then price reject. This was all news, right? So when news started to push up, I know for a fact that we were going down because this entry right here, it was actually a sell limit that I sent out to the group, right? Prior to news, it was a sell limit, telling persons to still hold this trade as well, right? And then this was a second swing entry that we had on gold. This one right here. So this one, I only took it for 800 pips. Didn't go all the way down with it, right? So pretty much for this, the entry was pretty much a retest at this level that was rejected, right? On the 4 hour, on the daily, this level is being rejected. So hence the reason why I went ahead and did another entry over there. So if we jump down on the 1 hour time frame now, This was the second scale in entry. It's pretty much a retest. So this price form support here, it broke below, it came back and it retested, got in on this trade. Took it down for 120 pips. I said, all right, price started going up, had this area there to say, okay, I'm looking for price to drive as far as this area here. Once it's respected, then we're going to take sells. This trend line here, price was sitting on it all along. It broke it right here, and then we got a retest. It retested the backside of this trend line right in our zone. So right ahead, I went and pulled the trigger on this one, took it just to this low right here. Because of how the candles were forming, I was a bit hesitant that this entry might break. Plus, we had two swing entries running already. So this was just a case of stacking, 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 closing out, taking profits while you have those two trades running, right? Right here, realize price did the same thing. So it was pretty much this same level right here going right across. That was broken once again and retested. Got in on another entry. This one was the last entry that we had on gold. Pretty much went for over 740 pips. All right. We did a sell right here on the break of structure on Thursday right here, but price we stopped out a break even on this one because price went and gave a deeper retrace because I was looking at it to say price formed the resistance right here, it formed support and then it broke support, right? So I was looking for price to drive down at least to this area first before retesting here because ideally I had a minor fib on here, right? I had a minor fib on here like this, right? And I was saying that, okay, once price, so at first, actually, there was a buy. Yes, there was a buy. I bought right here, sent a signal for buys when we broke above this candle right here. And then it was a tight stop loss and price came back and hit us out. I like, okay, that's fine, right? And then, yeah, because I believe it was 20 pips or less for the stop loss that we're using here. And then went into sales based on the fact that we were rejecting. But then the sales got stopped out at break even. I'm, I believe I wasn't up when this happened. I know for sure I wasn't up when this happened. So this last leg right here, we didn't get in on any trades. We didn't get in any successful TPs. We had one loss of 20 pips right here for the buys, and then the stop was we got stopped out at break even, right? Right here. So this is overall the move, the plays that we took on gold, just the sells for the month of September, right? So we're gonna do a quick calculation on this one, just to see. So I can show you live. So we're gonna start with this one up top, which is 100 pips. Then the one below right here, 160, plus this one, 120, plus this big one, closed for 1,000, plus this little one here for 60, plus this one for 120, and this one for 260, and then it's 800, and then 740. Right? So that is 3,360 pips. And that is not counting any buys that we took, not counting any buys whatsoever. And we still missed out on some of the sells because the ones that we took here in this week, I'm not adding it because it's not on this chart. It was on a previous chart and I accidentally cleared that chart out. All right. So that's what we did on gold. And that's how we ended the week. That's how we ended the month. So as it relates to gold right now, it has driven into these areas here, which is pretty nice for me. I am now waiting to see what it has in store for this week. I'm not trying to rush anything. I am looking for a potential pullback, but also I'm looking at price can first clear all of this liquidity here, and then we get a pullback in this possible area right here. So this is what I'm currently looking at. I'll give a detailed chart breakdown for this coming week later on, but ideally this is what I'm looking at. So I'm currently waiting to see just what it's gonna finish up doing, and then if anything, I'm looking for potential rejection from these areas to give a retest to any of these lows right here to continue going down. So overall, I'm still bearish on gold, but based on all of this fall right here, I need to see price start creating some structure on a lower time frame so that I can use that to get in. Because you see, this is just a straight free fall right here. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, and I hope it shed some light on some setups that you may have had or some that you considered as well. And I hope it adds to your journey on trading and trading gold specifically. Thank you once again, and see you all on the charts.